I was so excited to get my hands on this game. Finally! Winner of over 200 Game of the Year awards on the PlayStation 3. Well, this definitely had some incredible hype to get me past and win me over. But you know what? You know when a game reaches this level in gaming, it suddenly comes under fire from naysayers? Fuck you! This game sucks! It's not good! You know, Xbox fanboys. Well, to them I say salty! Because this game is freaking undeniably awesome. A well-crafted masterpiece that even holds its own on the next generation. Hell, it's actually the best game on the next generation. That says something about the actual next-gen consoles. Now, most of you probably already know the story by now. It's been a year. The world is plunged into chaos when a virus outbreaks that turns people into violent creatures. The twist is that instead of being straight up zombies, they add a realistic spin on it, basing it on an actual real world infection called Cordyceps that infects ants and all sorts of insects in the jungle. This angle is so perfect, it adds so much extra fear and creepiness now that it's jumped to humans. I'm convinced that if a zombie outbreak really were to happen, it's not hell filling up, but it would be nature gone wrong, a biological terror. And it somehow makes zombie outbreaks fresh again. Now this game brings the intense feels immediately, and it never pulls its punches. The opening sequence with Joel's personal loss will hit you hard. I'm gonna censor a little bit of it, but look at me and other Joe's reaction. Now, 20 years later, Joel has made his way from somewhere near Austin, Texas, that's my hometown, extra points for that, all the way to Boston. He now lives in this government-controlled safe zone, except for this safe zone sucks and has atrocities of its own. So much so that a group has rebelled and broken off to create the Fireflies, who battle with government forces and bandits alike for a better future. Now, the first major character we meet in this post-apocalyptic survivor world is Tess, who seems to have had a relationship with Joel in the past or something in this new world. And holy shit, is she perfect for him because she's a fucking badass. I mean, she saved my and other Joe's ass more times than I can count. Now granted, the AI isn't always perfect. I did run into one or two normal soldier dumbasses in the game. It's through her that we eventually meet the leader of the Fireflies, Marlene, who wants us to smuggle a teenager girl named Ellie, played so perfectly by Ashley Johnson. Now let me stop a moment here and just tell you, just gush about Ellie. She is one of the most fascinating, real, down-to-earth, perfectly written and acted, voice-acted characters I've ever come across in a long while. Possibly the best NPC ever. She's not your typical escort mission, save me, I'm helpless. No, she's a fiercely independent girl, forced to grow up in the worst conditions, and holy fuck, I never thought I'd hear another person swear as much as I do. Shit. She's just as dangerous and capable as Joel at taking out the bad guys. She's also freaking adorable at times. Anywho, basically the story sums up to getting Ellie, who can potentially save all humanity, to a Firefly facility who have been working on and searching for a cure. And while this admittedly doesn't sound like a unique story, it's not really. And it doesn't even take many unexpected twists or turns. It just manages to tell it in such an engrossing, believable way that we become fully immersed and invested in what's happening. We care about what's happening to Joel. We want to see him love again. We care about what happens to Ellie. We want to see her grow and survive. And this is done with some of the best natural writing and excellent pacing I've seen in a video game. It rivals that of the best movies and television series on this very genre. The relationship between Joel and Ellie alone, just the way it evolves over the game, is so memorable that it's not a title that you're going to forget anytime soon. There's not one weak moment or throwaway character here. Everyone that you meet is interesting and sometimes horrifying. That's what makes this journey worth it. That's why it's won a lot of awards. You may say it's overhyped, but you'd be fucking wrong because it's a damn good game, and that's why a lot of people say it's a damn good game. Gameplay is so friggin' intense. It's just as strong as the game's story. It's this third-person shooter with, lots of stealth elements and more exploration than you might expect from, it is admittedly linear adventure. Now, despite that, the level designs are just so smart that you always feel like it's open. There's multiple paths and options for completing a section. Shooting mechanics are good. There's a natural cover system. You'll have to be careful about the amount of noise that you create. Oh, and fist fights are satisfyingly awesome, and rarely is melee combat done well in these types of games. But here you could just feel the impacts with its fantastic sound design. Like, I just want to go punch somebody in the game right now. The infected enemies are all scary as hell, especially those damn clickers. They sound creepy. They're so fucking disgusting. I don't even want to touch them. But the game says, fuck that. And it puts you right close to them, right up to them, especially at key several points in the game where there's clickers, runners, all between you and your objective. And it's up to you to figure out how to get past them. Whew, it's a roller coaster ride, man. And if you have the game on any of its harder difficulties, it's quite a challenge. You're gonna die a lot. Stealth is so important. You're gonna want the path of least resistance. The best policy is to use your vision mode that allows you to hear and locate baddies through walls to find the best path around them. Use bottles and bricks that you find in the environment to manipulate enemies out of your path and find ways around them while taking out a few key roadblock enemies here and there. Mini-boss bloaters are a real challenge that you need to save your Molotov cocktails for, but whatever you do, stay away from their grasp because they mean business. Of course, it's not just about the infected. Let's face it, humanity sucks. Bandits manipulate, maim, rape, murder, kill innocents for food and supplies, and for fun. Just trust no one. Joel uses his backpack as an inventory system where you can pack in it more weapons and supplies. And you see, in this game, it is so important to scavenge for materials in between battles. It actually means something because it uses a crafting system. And you find these components that share common ingredients, which means that you'll have to decide, do I want a health pack right now or a Molotov cocktail? And it helps that every single item that you can craft, there's not a single useless one. Your choices are always meaningful. You can locate workbenches and find training manuals through exploration that will allow you to upgrade each one of these useful items and weapons using scrap that you've collected from your excursions. When you run out of shivs, you feel vulnerable. Why Ellie doesn't give me her fucking pocket knife, I will never know. She even has a better loadout than Joel when you actually take direct control of her eventually, and she's so fun to play as, especially with her character set up so well before you take control. I just didn't want to let go of her and go back to Joel. Basically, there's never a dull moment in this game from start to finish. Whether you're in intense stealth sections, gun battles with infected or bandits, scavenging desperately for supplies, or just taking in the scenery, you are always enjoying the hell out of yourself through roughly 12-14 hours of gameplay. Graphics and visuals were already among the best that the PS3 could offer, which have been further improved here with sharper textures, 60 frames per second, and while it's not at the exact level of current PS4 games showcasing the graphics, it does hold its own and it looks fantastic. The production values have really held up, especially the animations, no doubt due to some heavy motion capture work. The enhanced graphics help bring this game to life, especially in everyone's facial expressions. I was fucking delighted and practically frolicking knowing that it wasn't over and I had even more story to dive into with the Left Behind DLC included for free into the package. That's like 2 or 3 more hours with a side story in a mall with Ellie and a close character from her past named Riley. Now, instead of having to wait 8 months for this additional story, which could probably be disappointing once you pick it up then, you could play it as soon as the credits roll. And it just has really fun, creative things like kids being kids, playing with water guns, Halloween masks, photo booth sessions, and of course, the pun book. We also get greater context to Ellie herself through yet another touching storyline that reveals some surprising things about her who she is. Now, just as in Red Dead Redemption, I would have been content with this story and the gameplay and its DLC bundled in. But they saw fit to include the multiplayer modes to help extend its life and value even more. You'll get another 10 to 20 hours out of this, as it's really quite good. They add another unique spin to your standard deathmatch by creating a metagame where you pledge allegiance to either the bandits or the fireflies and build up your own pack of survivors that you can import from Facebook, your friends, who you care for and look out for as their leader in matches. Progression then allows you to grow this clan, unlock new perks, weapons, and upgrades. In the matches themselves, the game carries over its crafting system, the visual listening mode, to create these really fun cat and mouse games of teamwork, where it's 4-on-4. Coordination and readiness will win the day here. If you still aren't convinced about how awesome this package is, then you have clear fungus growing from your brain. Considering how addictively fun and creative the multiplayer is, alongside this insane value worth every cent, the remastered version has rightfully achieved legendary status and earns a 10 out of 10, making this the 4th game ever to earn my highest rating, and it deserves it. It was the best on PlayStation 3, and it is literally the best on PlayStation 4 right now. The only reason not to pick this up is if you've already bought it on PS3 and you have bought the DLC. For everyone else though, this is a required must-play, must-own. If you move from Xbox 360 to PlayStation 4, buy this game. If you don't have it at this point, shame on you. Now that it's on PS4, you've got no excuse. Get this version immediately. I hope this series turns into a franchise for Naughty Dog, because I'm itching to play as Ellie again and figure out just how their story ends. Until then, I will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.